It's quiet. Too quiet.
So let's give the game a soundtrack.
Hold it! Let's go! Music Man!
In case you're new to the subject, Five Nights at Freddy's is a game that revolves around a security guard in an office, and he has to look at security camera and listen for sounds to keep the animatronics from getting into his office. Otherwise, if they do, you get jump scared. And as I just said earlier, you're supposed to listen for sounds, so there's no music in the game. Obviously, because if there was music, it might overshadow the noises you're supposed to listen to know whether or not to close the doors to keep the animatronics out. But I've been wondering, what if Scott Cawthon decided to have a soundtrack in this game? What would he try to make it sound like? That's what I wanted to explore in this video. The software I'm going to be using in this video is a free online music DAW called Boombox, which is basically you click on these squares and they make a certain sound. It's a lot of like musical presets that we can choose what kind of instrument to play. And you'll notice at the bottom of the screen there's those little squares. Those are to cue when a certain part of your music plays, which is going to come in handy later in this video as you'll soon see. Let's start with the menu music. The intro is probably the most important part of any creative project.
Now, I imagine that the intro should be simple and repetitive, but also sound eerie enough to foreshadow to the player that something creepy is about to happen. Remember those squares I was talking about a minute ago in Junebox? Well, I thought, what if I had two instruments play at the same time on one square, and then on the next square, one instrument plays, and then another instrument plays a note right after that. I thought that would be really cool. And then I added a continuous organ sound with a little reverb to act as kind of a bass. The track for night one is a lot similar to the menu track that is in the menu. It's just simple and repetitive, and that's actually intentional because it's the player's first night. There's not really much that happened. It's just there to get the player's feet wet and figure out the mechanics. It also can be used to foreshadow to the player what kind of week he's in for. So for this track, I used a Celesta preset. It sounds a lot like the music boxes that you'd hear a lot in the games or in the movie trailers. And I thought of adding something else to the track, but I thought that it sounds pretty good on its own. The track for night two is a little bit more scripted. I don't want it to be too elaborate because it's still the beginning of the game, but I decided that the first half of the shift would play one thing and then play something a little different during the second half of the night shift. The first half should start with a slow, creepy rhythm played by a crystal, and then a continuous note by the Atari Square preset will play. It sounds a lot kind of like the organ preset used in the previous track. And then the second half of the night, the crystal plays a quicker and a creepier pattern, and a few notes from the NES Pulse preset will play in a lower volume in the background. We're at the halfway point of the week, guys, and that means we need to kick the music up a notch. We need to make it a little more tense and try to rely just a little bit less on the repetition on some of these tracks. So I think this night should start with a bass and lead preset. And then a flute will play in the background to add deeper sound. Then a bass synth will play in the background to act as sort of a silent drum beat. But then during the second half of the night, that synth bass will be replaced with an actual drum to like kind of represent the intensity of the second half of the night as the player tries to conserve power and not get jump scared. Hey guys, sorry to interrupt, but if you are enjoying this video so far, I just want to let you know that my new game Pumpkin Pong is now available on itch.io. You can play it for free, or you can pay whatever you feel it's worth. It's your typical retro Pong game with a little spooky twist in it. And now, back to the video. Alright guys, night 4. This is it. This is the eve of the nightmare to come in night 5. This is the night we lose the phone guy to that most definitely unquestionable circumstance. Speaking of which, remember that phone call in night 4? Well, I was thinking when that plays, we should just have like a standard drum beat playing. And then throughout the first half of the night, an acoustic bass will play in the background. And then at the end of the night, during the last 2 hours, I imagine we'd have I think it's called a charango synth beat that's like quickly shredding in the background. I think that would be like really cool and intense. Night 5. This is it, guys. The last night. And also the most intense. And I think this night deserves something really special. Remember the video where Markiplier reacts to that phone call in night 5 and he makes that really funny face?
Shut up!
Well, I think during that call we should have a low continuous note playing during the phone call using a flute preset. And then immediately after the call ends, a dark choir will chant from a high to low on repeat. And this will go on for the first 2 hours of the night. And then during the second half, 2 extra notes will play in the background to make the sound even more louder. And the choir is replaced by a steel guitar that is like quickly shredding in the background. And then during the last few seconds of the night, all the other instruments stops. Out of nowhere comes this really beeping noise that progressively gets faster and faster until it's just one continuing loud beeping sound. And then silence.
But hey, that's just a theory, a music theory. If you enjoyed this video, you might enjoy this other FNAF video I did. And don't forget to try Pumpkin Pong on itch.io. Just type in or copy paste the link in the description below.